This is
hydrangea.
And this is
lichen.
Okay, whoa. Let's stop, rewind, and I'll try and explain this better.
This is what it looks like when you take hydrangeas, paint them, tape them to clear motion picture film, and run that through a motion picture projector. And this is what it looks like when you take lichen, tape it to the same type of motion picture film, and run that through a projector. And these are the Crackpot Crafters, a group currently based in Olympia, Washington.
I am Devin De Monte, the founder of Crackpot Crafters. The Crackpot Crafters is a motley crew of direct animators making film by hand without cameras. And it sort of grew out of being poor and not having equipment and wanting to make film imagery just by collecting scraps, anything you can get your hands on to make a film, even if you don't have fancy equipment. It's actually a century-old art form. Artists have been making direct animation for over 100 years.
The Crackpot Crafters scratch the film, cut the film, scrape the film, paint the film, apply objects to the film, and that's just a few of their techniques. These techniques are how they came up with the name Crackpot Crafters.
One of the early participants said, it's kind of like a quilting bee for film freaks. And we started thinking about the processes we were using, and everything was more crackpot than the next. So it was taking a kind of craft aesthetic that's not usually associated with filmmaking and doing the most crackpot, crazy, outlandish thing you could think of to combine the two.
I want to know. You don't want to know. Now, when I say film, a lot of you think of something like this. You're a clone of me. It's a story projected on a large screen, and they use cameras and editing to convey some sort of reality that you lose yourself in. Today, most of those films are projected and made digitally. I got news for you. We're both digital. But to the Crackpot Crafters, this is film.
We are talking about the actual substance that runs through a motion picture film projector. It's thin, has sprocket holes along its side, and is divided into segments called frames. Each frame has a beam of light piercing through it when run through the projector, one frame at a time. The Crackpot Crafters are interested in how this physical material can be manipulated without a camera, and what that looks like when projected. And while you may recognize images from reality, such as these frogs and...
Occasionally we do use stuff that has been in a camera, often called found footage, discarded scraps from the edit bin that we repurpose.
They are more interested in how those images are made or altered than recreating reality or telling a story.
It's not there to represent anything. It's not there symbolizing anything. It's just what it is. And that there's this beauty in learning to appreciate things just as they are.
So to get some perspective, let's go through some art history and see how photography affected painting. You see, it used to be that painting was your way of capturing reality. You'd use a painter to get your portrait or to recreate some important event. But then photography came along, and it did a faster job of recreating reality than a painter ever could. So what happened to painting? Well, through the years, painting gradually became more about the tangible process of applying paint to a surface than about capturing reality. That tangible process is what the Crackpot Crafters are exploring with film.
Direct animation really pares moving image making down to the bare basic elements. You can make a film with a piece of black leader that you spit on and scratch your fingernails into it and then put it in the projector immediately and see it blown up on a giant movie screen. So there are unique things that happens as that's running through at such a speed. For example, if you're scratching into black leader and you scratch something different in every frame, it's going to create a motion out of that. And so you'll look at it as a strip of film and it'll look like just a pattern of scratches or lines. But when you put it into motion, it comes alive, it animates itself, and it will do things like superimposing one frame upon the other. So it looks like those two scratches are together, when in reality it's just the way the projector is superimposing one image upon another.
We can look at this frame. I can't just hold up my hard drive and look at it. We used to say this with videotape, right? See my film? It's it's like, no, that's a signal, that's not a picture.
The interfaces of computers are infinitely daunting, and this one has limitations that I welcome. Just the fact that if you create something that can't run through the projector, it won't.
Each projection is kind of a performance that is a partnership with the audience and the film and the equipment and the room. So you don't know if it's going to make it through. It could burn up, something could break. The beauty of analog film, if something breaks, you see it break and you know what happened. But there is that roller coaster ride, sense of adventure. It's a once-in-a-lifetime event, each projection.
Working with actual material, you have a respect for the material that once you do something to it, you generally can't undo it. So you have to really think about what you're doing, or you have to enter into working on it with this sense of exploration and this appreciation that sometimes things are going to show up that you didn't anticipate.
If you take some found footage and bury it in your backyard, when you come back in 2 weeks and dig it up, something like this may happen to the projected image because the soil, compost, and rain deteriorated that part of the film. Leave it in longer, you may hardly have an image at all.
So it has that science experiment quality. You don't know how it's going to come out. You just have to try it and then put it in the projector and see what happens. We are not only reinventing filmmaking, but we're learning a new way to see. Normally we see by reflected light what's reflected off of what we're seeing. With this kind of filmmaking, we're dealing with transmissive light, what light shines through the film material, of actual stuff running through the projector light rather than a digital interpretation of the light.
It's kind of what I was saying earlier, how it changes the way you look at the world when you're watching.
Yeah, because you're always looking at things thinking, what's that going to look like if I tape it down to film, you know?
Which kind of makes you have child eyes again.
You're trying something, you wonder what'll happen if I put that bug wing on a frame of film. And suddenly you're seeing a bug's wing in a completely different way. And you think, what'll happen if I do something else, if I put a spider or a spider leg?
And then there's an appreciation for film as a physical object.
You can hold it up to the sun or shine a flashlight through it. You can wear it around your neck. It can be a sculptural object, and it's a thing that we can appreciate its aesthetic qualities. It's an object that lasts, and it's an object that the projector, the equipment to play it, has been virtually the same for 100 years.
It's mechanical, so it doesn't need a software upgrade in order to work. The film itself may age, but I still have it, whereas some of my digital files I can no longer open.
When you go to play a 5-year-old computer file, you may have to do some searching to find the right technology to get it to play that. Not so with film.
And so there is the permanence to this stuff that is really nice.
Now this may seem like a lot of time spent on the merits of a particular art medium, but
I'm a Crackpot Crafter too.
So when I moved back to Olympia, the night I got back, we were teaching this all-night filmmaking workshop, direct animation, and you showed up with your bin and your rice and your bleach and your Super 8 footage, and I thought, what in the heck are you gonna do with that? And you proceeded to show me, you took a jar, packed it with rice and film footage, and then poured bleach over it, and then quickly poured this mess out all over your bin. And when you pulled the film out, it had little rice spots where the rice had stuck on the film and it bleached around it. almost smell the bleach.
And when the mega film producing company Kodak filed for bankruptcy, I got worried that I couldn't work with film much longer. But not Devin.
We're here under the balcony of the historic Capitol Theater, and I'm not too worried about running out of film. These cans are filled with it. We're not going to run out anytime soon. Everybody wants to know what's going to happen, what's next. Is film going extinct? Does it matter anymore? And the point is, film is still here, it still works, the technology is as vital as ever. So it's sort of irrelevant to think about what happens tomorrow or what the new technology is going to be. The point is, we have all these technologies at our fingertips. Each one does something a little bit different, and film has its unique properties that haven't been duplicated in any other medium.